Hey guys, a couple days ago, I posted a poll on my community posts asking if people would be interested in me doing a sort of read aloud thing with fairy tales from this book that I have, um, that I really like, and I got a lot of votes saying yes, so I thought I would do that and I would turn it into a little series called Fairy Tale Friday. So yes, it is Friday, so I will read these on Friday. Not every Friday probably though, but a lot of Fridays. You'll hear a new story from me and maybe some commentary at the end, because what's not a read aloud if there is not my opinions at the end of it. So yeah, this book has a couple of stories in it. And I'm aware that, like, with fairy tales, there's different versions of the stories. So, my book, this is like the only fairy tale book I've ever found in Braille. I don't know if there's like a print version or not. Probably. Most likely. But mine is by Liz Scoggins. I think that's how you say it. And so yeah, if I read a story and you heard a different version of the story, then feel free to share it with me, because I'd be interested. Because, yeah. Also, I apologize that I am not the best at reading aloud. I did practice reading this story beforehand just to make sure I didn't stumble over my words and make this take way longer than it has to be. But yeah, I'm trying, and maybe this will be good practice for me, because it's probably a good thing if I learn how to read aloud better. So yeah, anyways, without further ado, after my long introduction to this, the first story is The Frog Prince, if I can find it. It is The Frog Prince, a story from the Brothers Grimm. And now I will read it to you. One fresh spring evening, a beautiful princess was strolling through the woods in the palace gardens, singing softly to herself. After some time, she arrived at a pretty pool and decided to stay a little while. The princess had taken her favorite toy with her, a ball made of glistening gold. Over and over again, she threw the ball up into the air, catching it each time with a smile. Her success made her confident, so she threw the ball into the air much higher than before. This time the princess did not catch it, and the ball dropped to the ground and rolled straight into the water. When she peered into the pool, the poor girl found that the water was so deep she couldn't even see the bottom. The ball was nowhere to be seen. The princess cried out, "My favorite toy! I would give up everything if only I could get it back somehow." As she spoke, a little frog hopped out of the pool and asked the princess why she was so upset. "Why should you care, little frog?" she asked bitterly. "My golden ball has fallen into the water, and now I'll never get it back." The frog thought for a moment, and then said, "If you promise to always love me, and let me live with you in the palace, I will get it back for you. You would have only to let me eat from your plate and sleep on your pillow. You would not have to give up anything." Now the princess, thinking that the frog would never be able to follow her back to the palace, saw no harm in allowing him to fetch the ball. Very well, she sniffed. The frog leaped into the water. When he returned, the frog spat the ball out at her feet and smiled. The princess snatched up her ball and ran off. Even when the frog called after her to remind her of her promise, she did not stop. The next evening at dinner, there was a telltale sound from the palace steps. Splish, splosh, splish, splosh. A knock sounded at the door, and a familiar little voice called out, "Princess, princess, open the door. Your Wonderland love can wait no more. Remember your promise at the pool. Your royal honor is the golden rule." The princess had forgotten about the promise she had made to the frog, and looked at the king guiltily. "What is the matter, child?" he asked. Sighing, the princess replied, "Yesterday, a horrid little frog made me promise that he could live here with me if he got my ball back from the pool." "And did he?" asked the king. "Yes," said the princess quietly. "Then you must honor your promise, as the frog says, child. Let him in." The princess rose reluctantly from her chair and opened the door. Splish, splosh, splish, splosh. The little frog hopped to the table and leaped straight to the princess's plate. The princess completely lost her appetite. And when the frog had eaten his fill, he asked her to take him to her bedroom. There she placed him on her pillow, and he fell right to sleep. In the morning, the frog hopped back to the pool. The princess breathed a sigh of relief, but that evening, to her horror, a telltale sound came up the palace steps again. Splish, splosh, splish, splosh. Then there was a knock at the door. "Princess, princess, open the door. Your Wonderland love can wait no more. Remember your promise at the pool. Your royal honor is the golden rule." The frog ate from the princess's plate and slept on her pillow again that evening, then returned to the pool in the morning. On the third evening, exactly the same thing happened, but then the princess opened her eyes in the morning. Wait, hold on. Oh, but when the princess opened her eyes in the morning, the frog was gone. Instead, a handsome prince stood at the side of her bed, waiting for her to wake. "Where did you come from?" she asked in surprise. "Long ago, I was enchanted by a wicked fairy to live the rest of my life as a frog, until an honorable princess took pity on me. Unless the princess allowed me to live with her and eat from her plate and sleep on her pillow for 3 nights in a row, I would remain a frog forever. Now that you have broken this terrible spell," said the prince, "I would be honored if you would marry me and live with me in my castle on the other side of the forest." The princess was astonished, but very relieved that the king had made her honor her promise to the frog. She smiled and said yes, for she knew already that she loved the prince and would be happy to spend her life with him. After the ceremony, the prince's faithful servants arrived to take the happy couple to the castle on the other side of the forest. The princess said a fond farewell to her father, the king, knowing that she would be able to visit often, as he was so nearby. She set out for her new home with the prince, who had once lived as a frog, and they lived happily ever after. The end. Goodness, I should have brought water or something. I don't know how audiobook narrators do it. I read like 5 pages and now my throat is tired. But anyways, that was the first story in this book, and I hope you did not mind my narration. Anyways, I love how this princess just did not take any notice that the frog was a talking frog, and was just like, "Get my ball back, you lowly stupid frog." That's not exactly what she said, obviously, but basically that's the kind of vibe she was giving. And I don't know, maybe talking frogs and things like that were completely normal. And I guess there was a wicked fairy, so I guess magic is like a thing, but I don't know. Sometimes magic is hidden from people in these kinds of things. And the other thing that I noticed is that I always thought like the whole thing where the princess or the girl kisses the frog and it becomes a prince, only there was no kissing in this book or in this story. But like I said, there are different versions of fairy tales, so maybe it's in another version of the story. But yeah, that's what I always thought, and that's like what I always hear. Like, you know, the girl kisses the disgusting frog, and then he becomes a handsome prince, and then they get married right away, of course, because they need, fairy tale characters always hurry with that kind of thing. They don't ever seem to think about it beforehand, but yeah. Anyways, that was the end of episode 1. And in episode 2, I'll be reading to you. Unless you have a copy of this book and you can follow along, but I don't know if anyone else has this. I got it from like a Braille children's book site a while back. A couple years back, I think. Anyways, for the next story is going to be Jack and the Beanstalk. So yeah, if you're interested in that, come join me, and hopefully we'll have a good time. And I will see you in another video. But bye for now.